Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Cove Center for Grieving Children for our Heart to Heart for the holidays. My name is Brooke Viens, and I'm the program coordinator at the Cove. And I'm also a person who has experienced the death of my mom as a young adult. And so I'm really happy to be here to share some of my experiences and to hopefully support anyone out there that might be struggling this holiday season. And I am joined by Donna Nickdow and Renee McIntyre, who will tell us a bit about themselves.
Hi there, I'm Donna Nickdow, and I am the director of the Cove's weekend-long grief camp entitled Camp Compassion. I am also the site director for our virtual caregiver program. And the other note on my resume is that I am a woman who was widowed a number of years ago, quite unexpectedly. And I'm happy to be here to speak with you today.
Hi, I'm Renee McIntyre, and I married a widower 45 years ago. And as a result, I had the privilege of being one of the founders of the Cove. It's a privilege to be here to share some of our wisdom. Thank you.
We wanted to just have a chat about some of the common questions that come in a lot from families, especially around the holidays. So a lot of families are calling in because they're just really unsure, how do I navigate the holidays after the death of my loved one? How do we celebrate? How do we feel joy or do the rituals that we once did when we're in such pain? And so that's the reason that we're coming here together, because we want to normalize that it's okay. However you're feeling is okay. And however you choose to honor your loved one or celebrate or experience the holiday is okay. So we're going to give some suggestions on what might help to get you through.
For starters, grief is the price we pay for love. The greater the love, the more difficult grief can seem at times. But basically, there's 4 tasks. The first is to acknowledge the reality of the death, and that's going to take a little bit of time. The second one is to understand, to the best of our ability, the circumstances surrounding the death. How do we make sense of it, if possible? And in some cases, we will never find a rational explanation for an irrational act. The third task is to feel all the feelings that we feel. There are really difficult feelings, but there's no such thing as a bad feeling. Most of us would much rather feel joy than sorrow, serenity rather than anger, but all feelings are okay. We just don't necessarily have to act on them. And the fourth task is, how do we make meaning beyond the event? And that's not going to occur for a long time. I'd like to say that first you do A, and then you do B, and then you do C. But the truth is, life is really messy, and it's going to get all jumbled up, and we'll have a grief spasm one day, and maybe the next day we'll be able to breathe that I'm going to make it through. But those are the basic 4 tasks of grief, which is the process of loving someone. Thank you.
I want to speak to a reality that you may have heard of and you may have already experienced, called anticipatory grief. Anticipatory grief is what happens in the advance of demarcating dates, things like holidays, birthdays, wedding anniversaries, and anniversaries of our loved one who is deceased deaths. The holiday time is almost upon us, and that was part of the reason for putting this video together. And anticipatory grief is that much more challenging because most of us, while we don't remember what we were doing on a random day of the year, can certainly remember what we did last Thanksgiving, last Christmas, last Hanukkah, or last New Year's Eve. So those dates carry a more profound sense of missing and loss, and it can vary a bit from year 1 to year 2. So particularly if your person died in close proximity to those first holidays, so let's take the ones that are almost upon us, what can happen is you may very much still be reeling. The world may still feel very upside down, and the prospect of a holiday where you're supposed to be in celebratory mode just can seem to be completely overwhelming. There can be a lot of raw pain that one is still in, and just trying to navigate on a day-to-day basis. The second year, the experience is a bit different. So instead of being a year marked by firsts, one experiences the lack or the absence of the person from their life on a day-to-day basis. So it's less about the idea of them being gone than the experience of them being gone. And this can make things that much more challenging. I do want to let you know that as difficult as the days prior to a demarcating date, a holiday are, the day itself, most people find to be much easier to navigate. There are also things that one can do to ease their load as they go into the holidays. But I think knowing that the tougher time happens usually those days before can be very helpful.
So I know for my experience, the first year after my mom died felt like a blur. I think I was in shock. I still had not fully absorbed what had happened, and I was not feeling like I wanted to gather with family and celebrate a holiday without my mom there. So the first year, definitely there was a lot of very raw pain, and I think my family didn't quite know how to even handle it. You know, do we even talk about my mom? It's kind of the elephant in the room. Versus the second year when it had kind of settled in, and I was, you know, I had lived a whole nother year without my mom. The holiday was a little bit easier in that we didn't have that shock and denial factor, and we were able to kind of enjoy being around one another and also acknowledging my mom not being there and being able to talk about it a bit more. So everyone's experiences are so different, but that's just a little bit about how I experienced the first versus the second year.
Unlike Brooke, my husband died early into the new year, so in January. So by the time the full thrust holidays of Thanksgiving and Christmas rolled around, we were fast approaching the first anniversary. I would say that we were already dipping our toe into what is common in the second year. But our comfort zone had expanded a bit so that we were able to actually engage with other people, have it not just be us during these difficult times. Having said that, pretty much everyone's threshold got reached at a certain point in time. And after showing up mentally and emotionally and trying to be present with different family members, we all kind of shared these knowing glances. And it was pretty much time to just jump in the car, head home, and get in sweatpants and PJs and just take it easy for the rest of the evening, because we'd done a yeoman's work that day. And I would invite all of you to be gentle with yourselves and be aware that different family members may have different needs and different comfort zone around how you celebrate these events.
There are many different activities that we can do that help us to remember and to honor our loved ones during the holidays. And you have to do whatever feels right for you and for your family. But we wanted to share just a couple of examples. One idea is to create a luminary jar or a luminary bag. And so this is where you can get out crayons, your markers, a photo of your loved one, and you can decorate the jar or the bag with anything that reminds you of that person. And you can put a little votive candle at the bottom and light it, and you could have it at the table with you for dinner, or you could place it in a prominent space in your house. And it's just a really nice way to honor your loved one and to kind of feel that their presence is there with you. Another idea is a memory placemat. This is, again, a fun, creative activity where you bring out the crayons and the markers and just grab a piece of white paper. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, and just decorate the placemat. Anything that you want to say to your loved one, any image that makes you feel connected to them or feel some sense of joy. And then you can just have it right there at the table. So again, you feel that connection. Another idea is as simple as lighting a candle for your loved one. This can feel really meaningful, and you can just kind of look at the candle, be with it, and it can bring a sense of closeness to your loved one.
One of the things that we know after the death is the bad news: a broken heart keeps beating. The good news is a broken heart keeps beating. We recognize that the holiday is going to be difficult if we can acknowledge that ahead of time and accept that we need to honor our journey however it feels comfortable. And it may be different for any one person in your family, friends, And there's no right way to grieve, however you are grieving, as long as it's not hurting yourself and looking for ways to avoid with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. The truth is that you're going to be doing it the way that you need to do it, and you will walk with dignity and grace, I am sure. And so it's helpful to know that once we acknowledge and accept that it's going to be difficult, there are some actions that we can take to help make the journey less difficult. And Donna's going to share some of those.
When we are in a stress state, our sympathetic nervous system, also known as our activating system, is busy hard at work and, generally speaking, in overdrive during grief. That means that your adrenaline, cortisol, all these hormones are pumping through your body, and oftentimes makes it very difficult to slow your mind or your body, meaning your heart racing feeling, down. Fortunately, we have another part of our nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our calming system. And its job is to do just that. So we can actually naturally, without substances, engage our parasympathetic nervous system. And if you think about sensory base, so sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch, you can activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So the first thing you might want to do is think about, get yourself a space in your home where you can have some privacy and a lack of interruption. Lower the lighting, have the temperature be at a comfortable temperature. You want to be in comfortable clothing. You want to be on a surface that would also be comfortable, and possibly lighting a scented candle, having some instrumental music playing. And this position in yoga, which is called legs up the wall, just what it looks like, all right? And you can do it on your bed and put your legs up the wall there. You can even do it on a couch, but if you do it on the couch and you have your legs will need to be up on pillows so that your knees are above your heart. If you are in this position for 10 to 15 minutes, and trust me, I've done it many a time with wonderful success, it is very, very relaxing and soothing. You put on your favorite music, a scented candle, mine is usually an evergreen scent, and off you go. And what will happen is your body will naturally begin to calm itself. If you find that your mind is still kind of busy, the other thing that you can do as you are lying there, you can touch some different things and ask yourself the same 3 questions over and over. Is it hard or is it soft? Is it smooth or is it rough? Is it warm, cool, cold, hot? Focusing on your sense of touch will help distract you away from whatever it is that's busying up your mind, and free up not just your mind, but ultimately your body. There's a line of reasoning in yoga that if your mind's at peace, your body will be at peace, or conversely, if your body's at peace, your mind will be at peace. I invite you to all give it a try. Certainly, we'd love to hear from you and the success that you do have with it. But I will attest that it has helped me overcome sleep disturbance at many different points in time in my life.
Well, as we're getting through the holidays, I want to just give a gentle reminder that we can baste ourselves in misery. We just don't need to marinate in it. So thank you for the privilege of sharing some resources that we hope you will find helpful.
Thank you, everyone. And we want you all to know that the Cove is here to support you during the holiday season and throughout the year. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at info@covect.org. We would love to chat with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.